I'm definitely late to this, but this will be a small review for me, Trip Starlake, on the game. This will be a largely spoiler-free review, but if you really don't want to know anything, skip to the end where I tell you whether I think this visual novel is worth picking up. Dairoku Agenst of Sakuratani is an otome visual novel created by Otome. The game stars Shino Akitsu, a young girl seeking a government job because, as she puts it, it seems easy and relaxing. During the examinations, she is scouted by her future boss, Tokusemi, for a job in the secret governmental branch, the Occult Action Department. She joins the 6th Special Division's office as an Ayakashi-mori, a job that monitors the supernatural beings that live in an alternate dimension, Sakuratani, created and designed for a peaceful living of the Ayakashi-mori, or not the Ayakashi-mori, of the Ayakashi, this game, living apart from the real world. So it's like a pocket dimension, kinda. Working in the otherworldly dimension leads to Shino meeting many different supernatural people known as Ayakashi. This includes Shiratsuki, a friendly nine-tailed fox spirit, Akudo, a kind Oni, Hida, a reclusive Tengu, and Shu, the tsundere leader of the snake spirits. The game itself is exciting to boot up on the Switch. The opening music is really fun and exciting. After that, it took me a while to feel the same excitement. The game has a pretty lengthy common route. This makes sense because Shino is becoming accustomed to her new job and her living environment, but it's overall pretty linear. The cycle goes like, choose to hang out with the guy you like over and over again, pick the right dialogue choices, and then you're in that character's route. I actually like that it's so simple because it allows you to get the max amount of time with that character. Something odd about the gameplay, though, is that there's like a mini battle game mechanic added in. It's cute and fun, showing Shino using her magic while she does her job, but the minigame only comes up once in the common route and it never pops up again until the finale route, which only is achievable, like you can only unlock it by completing all the other characters' routes, like all the other love interest routes. I feel like there were many instances where they could have used it more. Like, why was it there? Speaking a bit more about the game system itself, the UI is simple to use and visually pleasing. However, the game starts with an audio sync feature turned on, which causes the flow of the dialogue to match the game audio. However, when no one is speaking, the dialogue is ridiculously slow. I'm not sure why the audio is so slow if no one is speaking. It's not a bad idea, but it wasn't executed very well. I have also read from other Otome fans that some of the dialogue wasn't translated, like some of it didn't come up right. But I didn't have this issue. There was a patch early on into its release, and I didn't see any big errors, so I don't think the translation is a problem anymore. The art for Dairoku, though, was done by artist Suo. It's very pretty, and it really gives you the feeling that you're in another world. My one complaint about the art, though, is the backgrounds. They tend to all be really monochrome. They're all like this purple, dull color. I really like purple, but too much of one thing gets boring after a while. Now that I've covered all that, I can get into a quick review of the love interest. Again, the main character is Shino Akitsu. I really appreciate that despite wanting an easy government job, like she says at the beginning of the game, she takes her job as an Ayakashi-mori quite seriously and is always trying to improve. However, I find her personality changes quite a bit depending on the love interest route. In some routes, she perseveres to protect the Ayakashi and her love, and in others it feels like Shino gives up and just allows herself to be swept up in the circumstances. She isn't really a bad main character by any means. I just would have preferred her to have a more consistent and perhaps even slightly stronger personality. So I'm going to go through the love interests that Shino can date, I guess, in the order that they ranked on the Dairoku character popularity poll. Then after, I'm gonna tell you my own rankings of the boys. First off is Shu. Shu is the self-proclaimed leader of the mysterious Mitsuchi clan, who most of the residents of Sakuratani don't know anything about. In reality, though, Shu is more or less a tsundere brat. He had the most potentially interesting plot in my opinion, but it didn't pan out at all. It's unfortunate that it was poorly executed and that the plot didn't do much to make you fall in love with Shu, despite his bratty flaws. There was a lot of potential there. It honestly felt like Shino wasn't that into him either, which probably didn't help. I would have rather gone on a date with Shu's aide, Orochi. Next is Shiratsuki. Shiratsuki is a nine-tailed fox that is one of the leaders of the 3 official groups of Sakuratani Kitsune. He loves to keep up with human trends and fashion, despite talking like an old-timer. Shiratsuki had a bright and cheery personality, and he was always quite kind towards Shino, which I really enjoyed, even outside of his own character route. The plotline of his character route itself is not very exciting. I wish they had truly delved in Shiratsuki's past and ripped my heart out, because I really felt like they could have done that. But it seems like they wanted to keep things lighter for the Genki Shiratsuki. Despite the lack of plot, Shiratsuki is really quite the comedic character. He's bright, he's fun, he kept things interesting regardless, so I had a good time anyway. After that is Akuro. Akuro is the aide to the leader of Makatsuhi, one of the 3 groups in Sakuratani. Leader of Makatsuhi is a pretty hands-off guy, so that leaves Akuro in a position of being the responsible one. And he's often seen as a mom or a big brother to the people there, despite being an Oni. Akuro is rather serious, but he's also incredibly kind and is always looking out for Shino. Luckily, Akuro's route does have an interesting and mysterious plotline, which follows through and was executed skillfully, with a satisfying ending, I think. It's hard to not like Akuro, to be honest, because he's so earnest and kind, and he also has some Gatmoe moments that are really adorable too. In second place in the popularity polls was Hira. Hira is the Tengu leader of Amatsuna, one of the 3 groups of Sakuratani. Despite being a leader, Hira tends to sleep all day and leave his duties to his aide Takao, who was voiced by Kaito Ishikawa, by the way. It was what a delight. To be honest, I found Hira quite enjoyable because he's just so tired of humanity and he just wants to take a nap, all the time. Very relatable. I loved seeing Shino persistently trying to motivate and befriend Hira, and although it wasn't the most exciting plot for the character route, the plot that was there was pretty solid for a guy who just wants to sleep all day. I found myself really liking Hira and admiring his kindness in the end. I personally think Hira's CGs are also the best in the game. Suo really outdid themselves. Last and in first place in the popularity polls is Tokitsugu Semi. Tokitsugu Semi is Shino's superior and boss. Semi is a fun character throughout all of the routes, as he frequently teases his squad mates, but is also incredibly dependable and helpful. I thought it was actually quite funny that Semi is the character with the kitsune eyes trope going on, despite one of the other love interests being an actual kitsune. But it suits his personality. It was more fun than I thought it'd be to experience one of the teasing fox type characters as in a route. When he opens his eyes, it's like, wow, every time. It's really satisfying. Despite Semi's great personality, his route involves a lot of typical office work, which I just didn't find that interesting, to be honest. Still, I can see how he ranked number 1, as he's just so cool in some moments. The characters themselves are overall well thought out and quite enjoyable, but I found myself wanting so much more. I honestly think if each individual route had been allowed to be just 1 chapter longer, to really flesh out the backstory reveals or deepen the relationship with Shino, I really think it would have helped this game. I also desperately wish there had been more time with some of the side characters. I genuinely loved all of the characters that they introduced you in this game. There's so many of them, and I think it's a shame that some of them are just pushed to the side. Also, I mean, could I have a Tamamo route? Just saying, it would have been really good. Anyway, for my personal ranking of the love interests, I'm gonna go last place to first place. In last place I have Shu, who I rank as, I think he's a good boy. He's just kind of a brat and didn't do much for me. Fourth place I have Semi, who I love personality-wise, but I just didn't have a lot of fun in this individual route. It was too much office work for me. In third place is Shiratsuki, who only really ranks higher than Semi because his Genki personality is so cute, and I loved him helping out Shino in the finale route. In second place is Akuro. The kind and gentle Oni really captured my heart, but he was only one out by Hira, who took first place. for, again, being a relatable king. And he was the cutest to me. I mean, I know it's all subjective. Finally, we have come to the end of the review where I tell you whether I recommend this game or not. I know I said quite a few negative things about this game, but that doesn't mean I didn't like the game. The thing I liked most about the game was the wide variety of fun characters, lots of fun personalities, and the music is just really good. It's so good! I think the game suffers a bit because some of the individual character routes just were not fleshed out very well. Shino, the main character, she's a little boring, and the backgrounds are just so monotone. They're so boring. But regardless of what I consider cons towards this game, I definitely think there's a demographic. For one, I think this was written with younger players in mind. There's really nothing particularly mature in this game that I think might be inappropriate for minors. So if you're a teen and looking for a game to play, give it a try, why not, if you wanna. This also might be my nostalgia talking, but I think those who really liked Inuyasha, Kami-sama Kiss, or even to a certain extent Natsume's Book of Friends, those anime, they will probably find a lot to enjoy in this game. But if you're looking for super deep stories with complicated plots and you want to feel the pain that comes with a lot of otome games, this probably isn't the game for you. Dairoku Agenst of Sakuratani is a cute, lighthearted game that doesn't get too deep, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It's definitely a breath of fresh air if you want to like dive into it after playing a darker game like Olympia Soiree or Steam Prison. So I don't think it necessarily deserves to be at the top of your next playlist. I think it'd be a decent game to play when you want to experience a lighter otome. And that's it from me. That was my opinion on Dairoku Agenst of Sakuratani. Let me know what you thought. It felt like a lot of people were waiting to see what reviews would come out of this game before they picked it up. So that was one reason why I thought I would make this video. But also, I just, I'll pick up every otome they release, especially for the Switch. So I'll have an opinion on it. But if you did play the game, let me know what you thought of it. I'd really like to know. And even if you haven't played, let me know which love interest looks the most appealing to you, because I'm also curious. Anyway, that's it for me. Bye now.